Hey, and we are live, and we are actually live. We're going to be live tonight on ABT Live number 30. It's over a couple of years ago we started this concept. Every week we bring to you lots of pre-recorded segments mixed with some live stuff. This week it's all live. We had a look at the events coming up. The Bass Electric Open, the Bream Queensland Open, the Bass Australian Open on Somerset coming up, and the Venom Barra Australian Open on Awonga. And we thought, you know what, all of the people I want to talk to about this are all within an hour's drive, so let's just get them all down to the Fishing Monthly and ABT office. We're going to do it all live tonight. We've got Nicole Smith behind the console there. She is buried in technology, making it all happen tonight. Big thanks for all your preparation work today. We have got the guys out in the green. They're in there watching on the TV. Filled them all full of pizza and soft drink, maybe a light beer or two in there. And they are ready and raring to go. As always, we've got competitions tonight. I've got a Daiwa bait junkie pack here with some braid scissors and some of the bait junkies for just letting us know where you're from. We don't have the Facebook stream working at the moment. We're playing with that now, but on YouTube, put in the comments below, tell us where you're from. Nicole will pick someone out at the end of the night to win that pack of gear. If you want to go to, let's go to our second camera, Nicole. You're going to be able to switch that across. Good. We'll have that running tonight when we talk to some of the anglers, some of the sponsors, about some of the new gear and about all of the changes for the Open this year. Now, who are we going to talk to tonight? We're going to talk first about the Venom Barra Australian Open on Awonga. We've got Dicko in here, and we've got Jake Schrin, a man who may or may not be fishing it this year, but we're going to talk to the man who put together scorecards last year. And I'm going to test you again, Nicole. Go to the second camera. Look at those. And he'll tell us what it was like. We've got Dicko in from Wilson's as well. Take us through some of the baits that are going to be used there. Secondly, we've got Josh from Samaki, and he's going to be talking with Jamie McEwen, the Samaki sponsored angler, about the Samaki Bream Queensland Open. And we've got Blake O'Grady, the current champion, who assures me in the green room that he's going to be going back-to-back this year. So we'll talk about some of his strategies then. We've got some prizes from Xeric Lures as well coming up from the for the Barra segment. Then, thirdly, we're going to have Timmy Morgan and Mitch talking about the Rapala Bass Pro Australian Open on Somerset. And we have the man, Steve Killer-Kanowski, who won the Queensland Open on Somerset and Wivenhoe last year. And there was a bass tournament there recently where Killer caught over 50% of the fish for the tournament. So we'll get Killer in. He's won millions of tournaments over the years, and he's going to give us some of the good oil on how Somerset may or may not fish during that Open. And then finally, the man himself, Pete Bostock, the man that impressed us so much on the highlights last year with his little rod twiddle and trick to catch all of the bass in Weir Along. We're going to see if Pete thinks he can move those skills from Weir Along to Hims, where the Humminbird Bass Electric Open is on this year. So plenty of guys in. We're going to talk to Marcel Krieger about the Humminbird stuff. We're going to have Pete Bostock on here last. We've got about 2 hours of live stuff tonight. A couple of things before we go to the first break and bring our first talent in. We have our forms up on the website at the moment for if you want to be an observer for the Samaki Bream Queensland Open or the Rapala Bass Pro Open, Australian Open at Somerset. So we've got forms there. If you want to come out and spend a day in the boat with these guys, doesn't cost you anything. You just go out, make sure they're doing the right thing, have a great day watching these guys do their thing. We'll organise it for you, but you've got to fill out the forms on the website. That's www.abt.org.au. Nicole, are we going to bring that screen up?
Which one?
The Observer forms? No worries. But you're going to bring this screen up because the other thing we launched tonight is expressions of interest in a trip to the Bassmaster Classic for when Carl qualifies. He's going to qualify this year. We're not putting the mocker on him. But we've had a lot of guys ask if ABT was going to get involved in maybe making some trip stateside. Nicole says, yep, I can organise that. She does events, she does trips. Go on the ABT site. There's a little, you can see on here, there's a little register there. There's no obligation. If you're keen on finding out pricing and maybe coming across to see Carl at the Bassmaster Classic, fill out that form and you might be able to be a part of a group trip. We're going to see if we can get that done. So fill in the form down the bottom. We'll put you on the mailing list. So that's the exciting news from ABT at the moment. We're going to go to a sponsors ad or two at the moment, and then we're going to come back with Dicko, Jake Schrin. We're going to talk all about Barra.
What them sons of fish is up to now?
Fellas, I give you the Force Trolling Motor. It is the most powerful, the most efficient on the water.
Yep. Most powerful. We're really in trouble now.
And it's quiet, too. You can't swim here.
What a dumb bass.
Oh! Oh, yeah, fish on. Make sure. Great fish. Crazy fish. Looking good. Cracking fish. That's a G. Oh, that's a good one. Sweat coming out of it. How cool is that? Woo! Oh man, that was fun.
All right, we are back, and look, magically the seats are filled. Welcome to the show, Jakey, Dicko. The last of the Opens, I think, which happens this year is the Venom Rods Barra Australian Open up at Lake Awonga. Jake, you and your old man John won it last year. You got that great stainless steel Barra trophy there. Whose house is it living at, yours or his?
It's living at mine. He wouldn't look at it otherwise. It's
Really?
terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
And Dicko, we've got a change of that tournament format this year, and let me run through Opens for you. In Opens, you don't need to be an ABT member, an open event. Last year, the Barra Australian Open, the Venom Barra Australian Open, was run 2 days on Lake Awonga, and then we had a day off, and you could pre-fish on Mondrian, and then 2 days on Mondrian. Now, we had a little bit of negative feedback about that, about people that wanted to do one lake or the other. So this year, 3 days, Lake Awonga, and Lake Awonga has got through this whole flooding period. I know it's raining hard up there now, but it seems to be really unaffected by it.
Yeah, it seems to be going that way. And they're still catching fish in there, which is good.
Yeah. Now, speaking of catching fish, Jake Schrin, we showed you this in the introduction, but just preparing for this event, we pulled your catch sheets out for this year, and I'm going to show them to camera one here. This is Jake's catch sheets. There's 31 Barra there he caught in 2 sessions. The sessions go from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. at night, and looking back at that, does this bring back fond memories of how good the fishing was there for you?
It really does. It's just, after that fish, you just start having fun, and then it just gets easier, and it's just awesome. And
we look at it here, Dicko and I were analysing this before, and we were looking for the quiet. You said you had a quiet patch in there, but Dicko, I couldn't find one, could you?
It must have been a 5-minute quiet patch.
I think there was a bit there where you were resting your arms for an hour.
Might have been a spot change.
Probably. Yeah, might have been having a sandwich or something. Look, the 2 things that struck me at the Open last year is first, it was father and son teams first and second. You and Johnny were first, but followed by Tommy and Rob Wood. And how close was it at the end? It was within a kilo. In 180 kilos of fish or something over the 4 days, it came down to less than a kilo.
Yeah, over two different dams, 2 different locations, and having that minimal of a gap between first and second.
Which is literally a centimetre on a big fish.
Yeah.
Did you know how close it was coming into the last day?
No, I didn't. I just heard at the ramp, and little Woodsy was a bit scared of coming up to the top of the ramp to see the results, so it was quite funny. But just got it, which was good.
No, it was really good, and I remember I was quite closely involved in this because we were up the top of B-Arm somewhere, and the Woodses had forgotten their torch, and they came over and they said, "Oh, can we follow you out of the lake?" And I'm like, "Screw that! You guys fish in here all the time. You have the torch. I'm following you out of this joint." And as we're going back, I'm checking on the app, and we pulled up at the end when we got into the open water. I said, "Tommy, you got to catch like one more like metre long fish, and you're going to win this because Jake's pulled ahead of you." And he's like, "Oh, and away he goes." And he catches a 95 centimetre on demand with like half an hour to go, and it got him within that far.
Yeah, we watched him drive past and we went, "I bet you that arsey fella gets fish," and he did. And I was like,
it was a 96 centimetre, they would have won. 95 centimetre, you win. So that was it was amazing. And Dicko, I pulled the same things out. Where was Dicko's scorecard here? That was your Mondrian one. Here's one for Ben. Look, tournament fishing. It doesn't matter how many you catch, because I think you were ahead of them this night, Dicko. So you guys only caught 6 or 7 fish that night, but there were some meteries in there. Jake, I want you to explain the daytime versus nighttime stuff at Awonga. How did you get both patterns happening?
Well, we did a few days pre-fish before, and I'd probably been going up for the month before. We didn't actually have a consistent day bite until the day of the comp, and we thought, we got a bit of time to burn, so we'll just start power fishing everything and looking around, and we end up coming onto a patch, and I think probably a good 2 or 3 fish out of the daytime were our big fish for the day. So it just happened on the day, waiting for a bite time, and we found something else. So
298s. It's not bad.
305 one day at 99, and then a 98 at 320 and 337. It's like
I'll say you're onto something.
Yeah, something happened. We just found a little bay, and it just lit up. We didn't even think they'd be in there, and they were.
So tell us, now we know how close that tournament was, and it was started by your great time at Awonga, and how do you think the lake's going to fish at Awonga this year, seeing there's been not really much change in level?
We've had a couple good sessions, but when that Awonga gets weed and then it rises and falls, but mainly rising, it gets really hard. Well, I've found it gets really hard to fish because everywhere you go in kind of that shallower depth is weed.
Yep.
And then
the fish are in the weed.
The fish are in the weed. You come out from the weed and you're too deep, and it's kind of doesn't work. I haven't been up there lately, but it's going to change a bit. And if it rains, there could be inflows of water. That might be something else. Or typically Barra go to the wall, so they could really be anywhere in this comp.
So and every year, like we don't see opens one in the same location every time, every year. It's sort of one of those things where if you try what won last year, you're probably not going to go well.
Yeah, and a lot of spots we fished in this tournament was spots that I fished back when I won years ago. This was back when I was in school, and some of those spots were the exact same spots as 15 years ago.
That's right, 15, and it's these lakes are cycles. I think I reckon we found in Mondrian in that open last year that spots that worked 15 years ago they work again when the level's the same. Dicko, you guys have been heavily invested in Barra for quite a long time now with ABT, and ABT and all the anglers thank you guys for it. You've got a few special baits here that are going to be must-haves, not just for the Open, but for the Barra Tour this year.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way from Tinaroo down to Awonga. So you brought a little bit of show and tell for us.
Yeah.
Our second camera isn't working with audio, so we're going to go to the top camera. Give us a couple to show to the guys there and tell us all about them. What would be your must-haves?
Oh, well, I haven't brought a lot, but I reckon these two for starters.
So this is the Flat Shad X.
Yeah, that's a Flat Shad X, and then you got the normal standard Flat Shad, and they're great for burning along that weed edge. Not so much of the Flat Shad itself is good for, like as a burning lure. Yeah. The Flat Shad X, you can actually see it's rigged up on a little bit lighter jig head, so that's perfect for that slower presentation, and you got a lot more action in the tail with the Kevlar in the jointed tail.
This is like a lure that's got every feature of every Xeric swim bait you've ever had in it, hasn't it? It's got the paddle tail, it's got the Kevlar, it's got the collapsing body. It's got, you can put sting hooks all over the thing.
Yeah.
And what's the main thing you got to know about the X is because it's customisable, isn't it? What
It
would you
is.
do to it out of the box?
So when it comes like,
Oops. Good sharp hook.
Hooking you up. So for starters, like the flat shad X comes with a loose jig head in it.
Yep.
So, but we deliberately did it that way so the guys can change it in and out. So, you know, you've got quite a few different brands of jig heads on the market that you can just slide straight in there and use. That way the guys that like to go a lighter presentation or a heavier presentation, you know, you're able to take it out.
Yep. And you don't have to dismantle the lure to make it happen. Yep.
But two drops of super glue on where the eyes are, and the thing stays there forever.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and these came out, I think last year they were pretty hot property. You would have had anglers now. You know, Barra guys are pretty conservative. Probably takes them a few fish to get used to have this as their first tie on, but I think this year you'll see a lot more people with this tied on. I know when the flat shad came out, like the flat shads that come out, and we've got a comp to give away some of these flat shads this time. This is how they come out of the box. They come with a weedless hook, big weight on them. They swim great, but they mightn't have the best hookup rate for a Barra, which is why you got to add some trebles and bits and pieces to it. Take us through what you've done on this one.
Well, this is the 9-inch one, so you know this one's got a jig head in it, and with a stinger on the bottom where you can add the treble, and you can see I've tucked the treble actually up in the body.
Yep.
I've actually
It's not going anywhere, that one.
there. So, but that's a big fish lure. You know, as you can see by the hook.
A big dong, isn't it?
She's stopping everything.
Yeah. So you need the rod to put that hook home.
And so talking about Barra rods, the Venom Barra rods, all made in Australia, all made in Brisbane in your factory over in where is it now? Tingalpa now. It used to be East Brisbane. I was going to say East Brisbane.
Tingalpa.
So in Tingalpa, quality parts, but each model that you have for Barra has been designed for these techniques, haven't they?
Definitely, yeah. From the guys up in the Northern Territory, right, and the last few years involved with you guys with the Barra tour, which has helped a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've got quite a few key guys in there, like Peter Price and that have been fishing the Barra tour and the Barra comps forever.
Yeah.
You know, those boys, they had a fair bit of input to a few
It's
of those
all in
rods.
here, isn't it?
Yeah.
They know what works and they know what doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, Jake, tell us a story. You're telling us that you might be able to make the Open this year. Everything's conspiring against you. What's happening with Big Johnny?
So the old man had a little whoopsie at work not that long ago, and it's possibly looking like a bit of surgery happening in the next month or so. So I'm thinking...
Is that on his fishing arm or...?
I don't know which
somewhere
one
in
it
his.
is.
It's a shoulder thing, isn't it?
He whinges regardless of which shoulder it's in. So he's going to get that chopped up, I think, and that's probably going to put him out unless he's feeling really energetic for the Barra tournament. So
That's what drugs are for.
yeah, plenty of drugs, Red Bull, iced coffee, all that.
Yeah.
Or just net a Barra one-handed, mate.
Yeah, well, he does get pretty good at the old net job, but upgraded nets this year. We got a rubber one, so actually it's a Wilson one, so get it through the water a bit quicker, so we don't have to play him as long as he was whinging about. But yeah, should be interesting.
You know what? If all you got to whinge about in a Barra tournament is that you're playing the fish too long, that's a lot of people whinge about other things, mate.
Too many Barra.
Yeah.
Got to have a good net. Can't wear him out on the net.
Now he's not here to defend himself at the moment, but who caught most of these fish? Him or you?
I think that I was probably just in front, but I was way in front on size. Like, I think we worked out of the, what did we weigh? 14, 5, 10, 18 fish. I think he put 2 that were actually scorers in. So
no, he put all the ones in the net, mate.
Yeah, he got them all in the net.
Got them
That's
all,
the main thing. Yeah.
Mate, Johnny, I hope you're watching tonight. We hope you're going to get better and come and put this young fella in his place, will you? I know that you taught him all he knows already, and I know I asked you at the Open last year who your favourite son was, and you wouldn't commit. But with something like that, I'd reckon I'd be going the other one.
It is hard. It's very hard to find another partner that sinks in with what you're doing, especially when you're on the boat for big hours, and then the high pressure situations of trying to net a metre Barra. So it's very hard to get a different partner, and we'll just see. I hope he comes. So
well, he's well qualified. He changed your nappies when you were
He's taken care of me for a fair while on there. Still does. So.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. Look, thanks very much for coming in tonight. Dicko, you can have one final look at these scoreboards, mate, because I know you were salivating when you were seeing those.
I know. I just wanted to see where I went wrong.
Guys, thanks for coming in tonight. Thanks for coming all the way down from Toowoomba. We hope you can get to the Open, but if you can't, mate, I'm sure you'll be watching the scores on the app and seeing how it goes. And I know that you've signed up for the Bass Electric Open this weekend. How many times have you been on Hins?
Never.
Never.
Yeah, I
That's
was
ballsy.
scratching for ideas on what's going on there and what's going to work. So I just like I'll go donate some money to Pete. So he's going to smash it.
Well, I've got some interesting stats coming up for Pete anyway, but we do have some lures to give away. Hold those ones, Dico. There, a couple of flat shads we're giving away a couple of live mullets there. What mechanism have I got for this one? We're going to say, who is the sponsor of the Barra Australian Open this year? That's a pretty easy thing, and just look at the other comments on there. Throw it below. If we're live on Facebook, throw it in Facebook. If not, you're watching on YouTube, put it down there. Nicole will pick a random winner to win some of those. They're not the customised Dicko ones. You've got to do that yourself. But between these baits, they have caught a lot of Barras over the years. So, guys, thanks very much for coming in tonight. We're going to have a word from a sponsor. We're going to be back with the guys from the Bream Queensland Open from Samaki. We'll catch you then.
You'll have a chance for showers or thunderstorms, and also little disturbances rumbling along this thing will bring us a chance for rain.
Maui Jim sunglasses were born on the beaches of Hawaii, designed to respond to the bright sun and harsh glare of the islands, all while enhancing the view. After 30 years, we're still independently owned, and the free-thinking Hawaiian spirit that first inspired us is still a part of everything we do. Our Polarized Plus 2 lenses not only protect eyes from harmful rays, they also make colors more vivid and contrast crisper. Try on a pair and see for yourself. The view's better from here.
And we are back live from the ABT studios. We have got rid of the Venom Barra Australian Open, guys. Might be able to win a prize if you quote that in the comments down below. Now it is all about the Samaki Bream Queensland Open. Josh, welcome from Samaki. Jamie McEwen and the champ, Blake O'Grady. I want you to show us Jeff. Jeff is the trophy from the Australian Open. You've been looking after Jeff for a while.
Yeah, Jeff's like a resident at home at the moment. He'll be next to you too, hopefully.
Now, that's right. Blake has already said he's going to only have him away for a little while. Sharpie named Jeff. There it is on the bottom, can you see? The official name, Jeff, named by Aaron Sharp, and he signed that. That's made it worth heaps more. And tell us, how heavy is that trophy, you reckon?
Enough to do yourself an injury, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I remember that we had the Australian Open one the same, and you've probably taken it home. You've got to wrap it up in all your life jackets when you take it home by boat, don't you, Jamie?
No, it sits in the front seat with the seatbelt on when I travel with it.
Really? Yep. And even if your missus and your kids are there, they're in the back seat?
Yep, correct.
Fair enough. Look, the Samaki Bream Queensland Open's been a really interesting event over the years. The whole format of it changes all the time. Like last year we had a Gold Coast ABT afterwards, so it all was happening in Moreton Bay. We launched north one day, south one day, but there's no ABT on after this one, so all of a sudden we're in Moreton Bay one day, Gold Coast another day. Blake, does this change your plans when it comes to defending the title? Can't just go and camp out one spot anymore, you need two spots.
Well, I learnt from last year, if you smash your fish on day one, then you got a problem day two, so I don't mind smashing my fish on day one, and then I've got somewhere else to go, so it's going to work out great for me.
There you go. You've come from down south. You've been a Brisbane resident for what, 2 or 3 years now, maybe?
Yeah, just over 2.5 years.
Do you reckon you got the depth of spots to have a go this year? You got some Gold Coast spots lined up?
Gold Coast spots, not so much. I just sort of do my milk run and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Last year was plenty of fish. I mean, the year before was plenty of fish caught in the Gold Coast. So
you caught. I haven't got your score shown here. I should have pulled it out. You had 73 fish on one day.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad day out there.
Yeah. So look, and who knows what's going to happen between now and then? Sydney's getting flogged by rain at the moment. It might be dry. It might be wet. No matter what happens, you guys are going to have to modify our techniques. Josh, you're a new Queensland resident as well. We've done an ABT live segment before down in your new factory. Yeah. How many pallet loads of stuff can you fit in that factory?
12. We've got 1,200 pallets at the moment.
But you could fit more than that.
Yeah, 1,200 spaces and 1,200 shelves, picking shelves. So a lot of tackle.
I've been to the Shimano, I've been to you. You're the same size as Shimano now when it comes to warehousing space.
Yeah, mine a lot less price. So.
Josh, the Samaki Bream Queensland Open, you've been involved with some good anglers over the years. Like you've sponsored Jamie for a long time, and he has been, at the top of the list for a lot of Australian Opens, Queensland Opens, Gold Coast events. You back some pretty good horses, don't you?
Yeah, Jamie's been obviously with us a long time. No pressure. We're just pretty cruisy company, aren't we? Like we're not a high push. But it's worked out really well. Now I've moved up here, so you can show me all these spots.
Well, that's it. And we'll all look. Hey, I noticed on the Barra entry forms for the Barra Tour, you're fishing with young Tommy Woods.
Yes.
Now he's another one of your sponsored anglers. Yes. Absolute little gun. Tommy, thanks for guiding me onto that metre 20 Barra on the sunny coast the other day. Holy man, that kid can fish.
Yeah.
And how good was it when Tommy goes down to Malakuta, first ever Bream tournament, first place as a non-boater. It's like, oh, scary. He's going to, we see a lot of talent coming through ABT, but have that many skills when they're young. I'm pretty impressed by Tommy. How much have you had to do with him, Jamie?
Yeah, mate, I met him for the first time up at the Barra Tour last year. And yeah, he just is just so enthusiastic about all facets of fishing. Like, just wants to know everything about everything. And wants to do it all. So.
I remember we saw Tommy, he was driving back up the coast from fishing for a week at Malakuta. And he's driving up the coast and he's stopping at every creek, throwing the crabs in, throwing this in, and he's just as excited to catch a bream this big as he does a metre 20 Barra, and that's the real passion, isn't it?
Yeah. No, he's real keen on everything.
Now, Josh, you're not going to, you have an extensive product range, but it was never going to fill up that 2,000 pallets down in the factory there. You've got a few new things in here, and I know Jamie especially, you are a big fan of this new braid of the Old Tolos. Is it Old Tolos? That's how you pronounce it?
Old Tolos, yeah.
Old Tolos X braid. And Jamie, tell us a little bit about the advantages you found with this fishing for bream.
So that's that one's the PE8 or 0.8.
Yep.
And it's 14 pound.
Yep. And it feels like
it's so thin, and the casting distance you can get with that braid is just ridiculous compared to other braid that I've used. The casting distance alone, you can sit a lot further back from structure and get a longer casting than what you used to be able to.
So, Josh, tell us the technological side beside that. How can they make it so thin? These guys haven't just started making braid, have they?
No, the original, the first company in the world to make braid or patent braid. So they've been around for a long time. I think like 76. I think they made their first braid. And this is kind of X-Braid is their new launch. So it's YGK is the factory in Japan, and this is the first sort of worldwide rollout to ensure that we get everything the best, so we get the latest technology, and it's put on the X-Ray banner. So it's and that's why we have such a high quality line. Australia's never seen this level of quality before, just due to technology and the quality of the fibres.
Yeah, I think you guys used to do braid, and then you sort of got out of it, for whatever reason. But then back in with this, you sort of have picked the winner, haven't you? They haven't just come back to the market with something that you bought out of some factory. You've gone for the good one.
Yeah, so we had Samaki braid for a while, and that was good. That was actually made by YGK as well. But the advantage of having their own brand is we get the latest every
good
year.
stuff.
We're ahead of the game,
and
obviously the packaging is pretty cool too.
Blake, let's get back to the event this year. You've already sort of put your hand up out there and said, I'm going to take Jeff home again. Let's talk about the rig that you're fishing in. You've got a Bass Cat powered by Mercury there. Last year we were blessed with some pretty nice weather. We could sort of go wherever we want. Have you got a plan for if it gets a little bit nasty on the bay day?
As you mean if it might be called off and put in the river?
Well, no. I just think if it's, I remember, what did it blow last year? 5 knots? And you could get it wherever you want. And I remember you told me you went here to there to here to there to there. You can't do that if it's blowing 15 knots. So how do you go between running all over the shop? And we've got some of your footage playing in the background here. When you can run to Redcliffe and then back again a day. It doesn't happen every day. What's your plan B for it if it gets nasty?
Well, I'll just do the craziest thing I normally do is just go to where it's most dangerous, where no one wants to be. So it's usually the way I plan things, and it usually works out for me. So I think I settled down a little bit as a fisherman as well. I don't run around as much as I normally do. I sort of find the fish and then stay on them as much as I can without, obviously stinging them too much. So I think that's something I've learned in my own fishing ability. I don't need to drive around everywhere to catch fish. I just take it easy and relax and have a sandwich and
Yep.
You know, just reset and then start again. You start catching them again.
Do you think it's an advantage? Like, I sit here and look at two anglers, Jamie McHugh, and you've sort of got a lifetime of experience in the area, and I've got a lot of experience as well. You probably have fewer spots and much less history to go on. I personally think that's a bit of an advantage at times because I'm driving past there going, yeah, caught a big one there 12 years ago, caught one there 20 years ago. If I let my history get to me, I would only go 2 kilometres. I'd never fish anything. So maybe it's good that you don't know what happened in these spots 10, 20 years ago.
I've got a lot of spots that are all high tide spots because half the time when I look at the tide chart when I'm sitting at home, I'll shoot to the ramp because the tide's coming up.
You like a running tide for Bream?
Yeah, I like that running tide. So a lot of my spots are off limits anyway, so I can't fish them anyway. So every time I drive past them in these comps, I'm looking over like, oh, I wish I could get on there today, but I have to keep going to these other spots I've found. So yeah, you probably are right. I don't need as many spots. I just sort of concentrate what I know, and that's all I do.
Yep. Jamie, I know you are very analytical. Have you looked at the tides for the Open this year? How do you rate them out of 10, mate? What's it like? What's it going to be doing?
They're small tides, run out tide from go, and I think it's about in the bay. If we fish the bay the first day, I think it's like about a 10:30 low water.
So Blake didn't pick those tides, obviously.
No. So yeah, so I would have preferred bigger tides. I don't care whether it's in or out, but just more
movement.
Water movement.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we just got to fish what's in front of us, really. So.
Well, it's the same for everyone, isn't it?
Just got to adjust to it and make your move.
Josh, you've got a few boxes of lures here, and I know you've got some lures that our Bream guys like. Take us through some of the new product that you've got to show us tonight. I know we've looked at the braid already, but you've got some, you've got some little cranks and vibes here that I'd definitely be throwing at Bream.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a new brand, so this is just under Fishcraft, which I think we've done a bit of a brief thing in our warehouse. So just pretty cool Bream colours. Yeah, just a shallow crank, medium crank, and a lipless vibe there. You'll see. So these have just come out in the market and catching a lot of fish. I've personally just been fishing them recently because I'm local to here. I'm fishing the canals, and obviously coming into the cooler months now, the Bream in the deeper water, we've been catching one, the little dirty doctor it's called.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, these are not like an analogue of anything else I've seen there. There's quite a steep bib angle there. You've got some little square bill style looking cranks here. Yep. Take us through a little bit through that refining process. Like, how do you end up with these shapes? You get input from your pro anglers?
Yeah, just action and colours. Obviously, Jamie, some of our local like Bream anglers and bass anglers. Like Tommy helps us with the Barra colours.
Yep.
So yeah, we obviously get feedback from all the anglers to suit different environments. Natural UV and action wise is just takes time. You've got to adjust the internal weights and get the action perfect before to suit our fish.
And the Fishcraft ones are designed at the price, aren't they? So these aren't like a $30 crankbait?
No, they're like $15. Yeah, so they're very well priced, chemically sharpened hooks, and really flash paint jobs on them out of the packet.
And this is in a pretty cool. Is this one of the Versus boxes you've got here? That's another brand you're distributing there.
Yeah, Japanese tackle storage. Yeah.
Yep. And I know a lot of Bream guys. They keep their jig heads in them, their trebles in them, crabs.
Cranker crabs are really good for them. Yeah.
That's it. Now, take us through the other one here. I always like to look at your little vibes.
Just obviously coming into winter, so our Vibalicious is one of our most successful products, especially in the 70mm down Lake Macquarie. But local guys here have been catching them really well lately, and they just we've got 8 new colours there in the 70mm, which is killer on Bream. So.
Well, I remember shooting a story with you, Jamie, about the flathead, and this was the one we caught about a 75cm flathead on one of these things. So don't write them off for the bigger fish.
Yeah, no.
Awesome, and a great boxer you've got there as well. I want a bit of a prediction, not from Josh, because he doesn't know what the weights were, but how much are you going to, like, we've had the floods this last year. Last year it was sort of drought condition Queensland Open. This year it's post-floods. We saw a Queensland team series recently, one with over 4 kilos. The Tweed fished bigger than it's ever fished for ABT. What weights are you going to need each day to do well on this thing? And remember, it's an app tournament, so it comes down to length. Jamie, what do you think your call per day is?
Mate, I reckon some of the old spots are going to be cool spots again. And I reckon that you'll be needing around 4 kilo a day, I reckon.
Wow. So big high thing, Blake. You got,
Yeah,
you got 4 kilos a day in you?
I was thinking 3.5 just to stay with the front runners. That we might need 4 now that Jamie said that.
Is that up in the mark?
4 kilo a day to win it, I reckon.
To win,
Yeah, definitely win.
Yeah.
Which might be a 4.2 kilo bag and a 3.5 kilo bag or something like that. I know we've had very close Queensland Opens in the past. You remember when Charlie Sakao and Scott Sanderlands actually tied? It came down to who had a bigger bag over the 2 days. It's amazing you can catch, between them, probably caught 30 or 40 fish. You can end up on, and we went to like 3-4 decimal places, I think. Like we tried to split them, we could not split them after the 2 days. So I suppose, and the other part of that is a 4 kilo bag has normally got more than one kicker in it. What do you think the biggest bream we're going to see in there? And let's talk fork lengths at the tail. Blake, start on that one.
I reckon 40 at least.
A 40 fork?
Yeah, 40 fork. I think that's pretty common, like, especially in Moreton Bay, like, you're going to see some big ones. The Gold Coast is producing some good fish too, so... We're 40, I reckon you'll see 40 a day.
I don't think we'll get to 40. I don't think I've ever seen many 44.
Caught some 40s at Ready after the last floods in 2011.
Yeah.
Washed out of all the lagoons.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get quite 40, but 38, 39 fork will
be nice.
Caught up, yeah.
I tell you what, if I caught a 39 fork in the Queensland Open, I would be high-fiving myself, fist pumping, doing the air dance. I'll be doing everything because, look, this isn't Sydney, this isn't the Hawkesbury River. They're not going to be 5 kilo bags maybe coming, but a fish like that is going to be amazing. Any further comments, guys? I know you're already going to take the trophy home, and you can take Jeff home again if you like tonight, and you can bring him back at the Queensland Open.
Oh, you might have to. He's got his sleep routine now with young Roman as well, so they both go to bed at the same time, so you might have to.
And Jamie, any final comments?
No, look, counting down to the 23rd, so it's going to be pretty exciting, I reckon. It's always a good event, the Queensland Open.
And Josh, back the current champ, or do you back your man?
I've got to back the man, don't I?
That's how we roll. Back your man. Everyone's against you, Blake. It's all right, mate. I don't mind if you win Jeff again. Guys, thanks very much for joining us on ABT Live tonight. We're going to drop to another couple of sponsors commercials. We're going to be back with the Bass Pro Australian Open on Somerset, and magically, Killer, Timmy and Mitch will be sitting in this chair, so break from our sponsors.
Seeing the fish, their position, and how they respond in real time. That's game changing.
Ta-da! We are back, and we have done a staff change here. Well, when I say staff, they're all volunteers. They all don't get paid anything except pizza. How did the crust pizza go tonight, boys? All right?
Beautiful, mate.
And
Pretty good.
Mitchie, how many bits did you eat? I heard you had hollow legs. All of it?
Oh, you reckon it'd be 1.5, I reckon.
About 1.5
I reckon.
He was picking the crumbs out of the
Yeah, I just kept going, everyone else finished up.
In case you don't know who's here, this is Steve Killikanowski, ABT veteran, and I don't know, won tens of thousands of dollars in ABT and other events over the years. This is Mitch Petty. You'll know Mitch from our Bass Open promo videos. We normally go for a bit of a fish, and I steal a few of Mitch's spots to use in the event. It's great. And Timmy Morgan, of course, you may have known him in the past from BLA, but he's been at Rapala for a long time now, and a proud sponsor of the Rapala Bass Pro Australian Open this year on Somerset Dam. Timmy, the Opens, to me, are exciting because it's 100% payback. It's one person per boat. It's just you versus the fish, and it's always for a 5-fish limit. It's a good combination, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great, and I think it's the true, like it's getting the most like we have an American tournament. It's one person in the boat. You're sitting there fishing. Yep. This is as close as you get to being Carl Jacobson in Australia.
It is, without being Carl Jochimson, although you're going to be able to get close to Carl Jochimson because he's coming on Barra Tour this year. I'm sure you all know that already. Barra Tour is looking amazing already. And thank you very much for Rapala for bringing Carl out and maybe Jeff Gustafsson. You know, Gussie is pretty keen on coming out. We can't get Brandon or G-Man out. G-Man likes his hunting too much, and Brandon likes his family too much because he's just had a new little girl, hasn't he?
Yes. Yep.
So we have got Killer in here because Killer last year you snuck from what, third on the last of his third coming into the.
I think I was second.
Second.
Yeah.
Second. You snuck up to win the Queensland Open. It was Queensland Open last year because of the border closure. With a limit here, and I'm going to run through it. This may sound unimpressive, but it's worth $5,000 as we see in the photo there. A limit of fish that went at a Ivanhoe that went 250 mil to the fork, 250, 262 kicker, 235 and a 230. So we gave you about 1.3 kilos, but it was enough to get on top of Matty Langford, who, where we were fishing, I could see him fishing everywhere around us, and all he needed to catch was one of those, and he would have won.
Absolutely. One legal fish, and they would have beat me. But when that's the way you got to do it, that's the way you got to do it. I found a little patch of fish, and it was a real mixed bag there. If I fished vertical, I would catch yellow, catty, eeltail catty, everything but bass. But if I threw a little spoon out and wound it slowly, the only thing I caught in that was bass. So.
Yeah, and we got some footage of that happening now. Remember how windy that day was?
Oh, we took a few waves over the bow that day, I can tell you. Yeah, it was atrocious out there. As soon as I had my limit, I went and did something different, trying to find that big fish, but and then didn't catch another fish for the rest of the day. So
yeah, it was bad on Ivanhoe there. And look, Ivanhoe is one of those lakes where in the past we've had limits that I remember a Bass Electric grand final might have been there once. If you didn't have 2 kilo average for a fish, you weren't even in the top 10.
Yeah.
And and then we have those tournaments where if you catch 2 kilos for 5 fish, you win the tournament. So it's a cantankerous place, isn't it?
Well, I remember one time at Ivanhoe that I caught nearly 6 kilo one day, enough at the next day and won.
You actually
but the next day was the same as that. It was waves breaking over the bow.
But I think you still have the boater limit for the heaviest 2 fish bag. I reckon that came. What was it? 6 kilos for 2 fish?
I think there's been bigger ones than that. But
I doubt it.
Not 100% sure. I think it's 5.96, and neither bass weighed over 3 kilos, but 5.96, and they were exactly the same weight. So.
Now, last year the Open was called the Queensland Open. It was a tournament on 2 venues. We had a day on Somerset where you did awesome and you were coming second, and it was big weights. It was like 6, 7, 8 kilos or something you needed to get up there. And then it was the Ivanhoe, the stingy day, which it fished awesome for everyone in pre-fish. Matty Langford said he caught a limit of nice fish on the practice day, but it was different weather conditions. So the feedback I want is, going all to Somerset, we're going to expect some decent weights, aren't we?
I would love to say that we're going to get some decent weights, and there's
like
big
not
fish
1.2 kilos for 5 fish.
No, it's just it's still a bit dirty there. So and the fish aren't schooled up, so who knows what'll happen there. I think someone who can think outside the box might do all right. I think.
Yep. Now tell us about there was the Queensland teams tournament that Paul Allwood runs. Tell us what happened at that tournament. How many bass were caught in it? How many did you catch?
5 fish by 10 teams, and we caught 3 of them. I caught one of them, and my partner caught the other 2. So
I would have claimed all 3 of them. They're not going to defend themselves.
He's not here.
Good on you, JK. Didn't matter.
So looking, the entry list is pretty good. Nicole, how many entries have we got for the Australian Open at the moment?
In the teens.
In the teens already, so that it's looking good. And as spring comes on, Mitch, you're a bit of an expert on Somerset and Ivanhoe. We hit that time in spring where stuff just lights up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
we expecting that this year because they haven't eaten for a long time.
Yeah, that is true. Like Killer said, it's going to be a lot. The fish have copped a lot this year with the water level going up as dramatically as it has. So they're obviously stressed out this year, and they're trying to work out where their place is. So hopefully August is enough time for them to be able to settle down and then get an appetite.
Well, we know what the place for them is. It's in the app, isn't it? So you want to have them in the app and in there to win you the money. Timmy, last year we didn't have a huge turnout. It was in the low teens. every single person got one of those green 13 fishing concept. How good was that? Where everyone at the briefing was walking away with a reel, couple of deep crankbaits.
We even got on the water.
You got like nearly $500 worth of tackle. Everyone's walking away going, didn't expect this. That was a nice surprise for the guys.
That was a great surprise. Not happening this year, Jess.
It's only a surprise once, isn't it? It wouldn't be a surprise this year.
But no, there'll be plenty of goodies there. Like that's the good thing about the Open. You know, like ABT, 100% payback. There's always good swag from the sponsors, and this time will be no different. We've got some, you know, when I first started at Rapala 9 years ago, actually I struggled to find stuff to fish on Somerset. Now we've got spoons, we've got plastics, we've got blades, we've got deep diving crankbaits, we've got pretty much a product out there that's going to cover you no matter what the bite is. So and the guys will get that in their swag before the comp.
And I've got some here. I've kept this from last year. We had a bit of leftover stuff, and we get a competition now to give it away. So this is the next sort of prize we're giving away tonight. A couple of the DT20s, which are exactly what you need for deep cranking those fish and doing some long lining. We've got some footage of the long lining. Let's put Mick Johnson's there, I think, catching a few fish on long lining. One of the brats, which are real popular, even in the rivers.
The BX brats in the rivers and on edges like maroon and stuff like that. Great lure.
Yep.
And the Shadow Wrap Jack Deep 7.
So the way we're going to give these ones away is, old Mitchie sitting next to me here used to have a nickname Aussie Seth. That's when he would look like Seth Fider. Had the the chop, had the long hair, had the llamas going. That's all right. Mick Johnson can catch a fish in the background. He had the llamas going on. Well, we can't call you Aussie Seth anymore. You haven't got the gear on top.
He shaved and
He did. Tell us the story about that. It's like while Mick's catching these bass here, tell us the story of why the locks went.
So I had my hair growing for about sort of 2 years, and she was fairly long and everything like that. And one day I just happened to see an ad coming for World's Greatest Shave, and I just thought, how good of a shave would that be, having this long that I've never grown my hair that long ever. And I thought,
shave it for a cause.
Most definitely, and I'm glad I did. It was for a good cause, and you raised a fair bit of money and
awesome
and everything like that. So definitely missed the mullet, but
missed the mullet.
You can always come back. It always comes back.
Well, I just think in the meantime, until you can be Aussie Seth again, because you're not doing any justice at the moment. We want. Oh, there it is. There's a photo of it. That's it.
Look out.
And there's the llamas. Look at that. Yeah. So, but we need a new nickname for Mitch. Like, this is the competition. If you want to win yourself some nice Rapala baits that we got here, and I'm going to give you a close-up look at them here. What you need to do is you need to give Mitch a new nickname, all right? And I want you to put it in the comments down below. Glenn Sturrock, it's not 3 metre flathead. That's not going to be his nickname. But we need a new nickname for Mitch because he needs one until Aussie Seth is back. All right, so you didn't know that was going to happen.
No, I didn't know. That's great. Yeah.
So now
you're running past me. That's good.
Now that I'm throwing you off, I want you to take us through a couple of the baits that you're going to have tied on at this at the Somerset Bass Australian Open. Take us through some. I'll hold them up to the camera for you.
Right.
You tell us what you're talking about.
I'll open up my little
the money bait.
Here. So I know that August is one of my favourite times for deep cranking. So DT Tail Helsinki shad. That's probably one of my go-to colours. Right there. Pretty similar to what Mick was doing, long lining, being able to cover water, particularly if they're all sitting along the bottom scattered in about 20, 25 foot of water. Beauty about when you long line, you can get them down to 25 foot, no dramas at all. And that just depends if they are out scattered out and on the flats there. But if they are on edges, I'll definitely be having a BX Brat sort of tied on as well too. Just work along those edges. Beauty about square bills, you can work them really quick. You can deflect off cover really quick. So the beauty about covering, you need to cover as much water as possible. And those square bills just work perfect for that sort of type of fishing, particularly around rocks, timber, everything like that. And which I reckon I'll be doing a fair bit of that over the weekend. And also too, big flutter spoons. Depending if there's schools around, I've actually, believe it or not, you look at that and you go, bass would not eat that, but I can assure you they do.
What's that one called?
That's a Nabu spoon. It's only just come out the last couple of years. A dynamite on the flutter.
37 grams, so it's big, but it's and it's surprising how small a fish you'll catch on that as well.
Yeah, most definitely. It's amazing just the range of fish you'll get on it, but big fish will clubber it for sure.
Now let's go back. When we were watching Mick catch those long lining fish before, he told us after the event that he was actually putting like a ball sinker up a couple of feet from the lure to help it get down, and he reckoned he was hitting the bottom in 60, 70 feet of water. Have you ever tried throwing the anchor in front of it?
No, I haven't. No, I like to when I'm longlining, I like to go straight through fluorocarbon. I find that when you're longlining, that fluorocarbon sinks a lot further, and I've had DTs down to 30 foot of water, no drums at all with fluorocarbon. But yeah, no, I definitely haven't put a sinker down the front of it. It'd be interesting to play around with something like that.
Tell us what it feels like when you get this down to 35 feet. It's 150 metres away. You hook up and you wind in, and it's a stinking catfish.
Yeah, or it's a bass, really small.
It's a bass coming in like this. Oh, don't worry, I've tried it for Bream, and I longline a crankbait, and I hook a 70 centimetre flat at 100 metres away. I'm swearing.
Yeah.
Because it's coming in like a bit of weed.
Yeah.
So explain to people who don't know what longlining is. Just take us through a cast, because I know it's a fair effort to do a cast when you're longlining. Tell us what happens.
So pretty much you can do two ways. So you can cast it out and then use your Minn Kota or your outboard motor. Preferably most of the time it's always on the Minn Kota.
Preferably on the Minn Kota because you're not allowed to outboard at a tournament.
Exactly. But just and then you mainly just sort of go 100 metres away from where you've cast your lure, and then once you've gone to a complete stop, engage the reel, and then just crank it as if you were any other time on a cast and everything like that. And I just find that longlining it's just so good to be able to cover so much ground and then find those active fish amongst the
That's right, and it covers the ground, which is deeper than you can't cover that 20 to 40 foot ground easily just in the one spot, can you?
Exactly.
So you're accessing fish that often only the trolling guys get access to.
Yep.
Just don't do it on a weekend when there's jet skiers and water skiers going everywhere.
No, and I can actually say I've never had that happen to me before. And I took my little cousin out, and he got done twice with skiers coming behind us and clean spooling him twice. And,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he set the hook on the skier? Or
oh, I reckon, yeah. All I know is old mate's not going to be. We would have a friendly surprise when he put the boat up and see the liner wrapped around his prop. But yeah, there's a few of them at Somerset, that's for sure.
Timmy, you're sort of. I suppose chief or acting chief at Rapala nowadays. You would have had a lot to do with making sure that the product range that Rapala and 13 Fishing have suits our local fishery. How easy has it been? Did the upper management give you a bit of free rein to do it, or do you have to fight to get the lures that we need?
Oh, you got to fight a little bit, but it's also the fact that like these spoons that we've got now are not made for us. They're for salmon and trout and stuff over through Europe, but there is a lot of synergy in the products. But definitely, we've got some great Bream lures, some great bass jerk baits in the Jack Deep series, which are all Australian projects. Yep. We've got some great Barra lures coming out that we've been working on. There's some we've actually got coming out after a new shad wrap style lure, which I caught my first fish at 13 in the Brunswick River, a flathead on a shad wrap. We've got 40 years after the first one was released, we've got one that's designed by Australia, Aussie tough, that's gonna I think help a lot of people catch a lot of fish. So it's really satisfying to be involved with a company and bringing products that are going to suit Australian anglers by the one of the world's biggest lure companies.
Yeah, you've got another handful of rods down here. You guys acquired 13 Fishing probably a couple of years ago now, and you've been working on some Australian-specific stuff. And I know there's going to be a lot of guys down the barrel there that love their 13 Fishing stuff. Like we gave a lot of them away as a subscriber rod, like as one of the old 13 Fishing jig rods, and I took one of them, and I reckon I've caught 50 threadies and dewies on it. They're a great light rod, and they've been fantastic. What have you got in the can here? You've got a handful of rods there.
Well,
what's happening?
We've got a handful of rods here. We're actually going to be releasing a full range of 13 rods, I think, on the 22nd maybe of this month. Yep. So I think all but one of the ranges, which we haven't got here, have landed in Australia. They're going to shops now, but over the next 3 weeks, you'll see them start to come into shops. But, we've used these for about 12 to 18 months now. We've had input into the design of them. I think with the 13 previously, there was a lot of generic guides and stuff on them. In Australia, we said not good enough. We've had a few issues. It's all Fuji guides on them now, which in some of these ranges, we're the only country in the world that has Fuji guides on them. So we've made them Aussie tough. There's rods in the range to go right through from trout fishing all the way up to big Barra. I don't know if you follow Mick Horn on Facebook, go and look. There's a fair few photos stuck in recently. He's one of our crucial testers of the product, and he's been giving them a good flogging. So keep your eyes on this space. All the the big independent tackle shops will have them online in the next few weeks.
There you go. So you heard it here first, hey, at
is the
ABT
first.
Live.
Yep.
There you go. Hope you don't get in too much trouble for letting that go. So what I got from that, I don't know what you got from that, Killer, but we got a reel last year. I reckon we're going to get a rod to go with it this year.
That'd be good.
Maybe.
Hey, you never know. If you don't open the Rapala Australian Bass Open, you're not going to find out, are you? Because last year we got all those... I remember the green reel I got at the Open. I remember fishing in the Bass Grand Final. Great lure for the... And I'll tell you what, I'm going to give it a good flog at the Barra Tour as well.
And that's the beauty of the 13 reels. I have literally got my PB Barra, my life, on a reel, the same reel I use for bass fishing.
Yep.
So they're light, they're strong.
You
can put 10-pound braid on it, or you can put 40-pound braid on it.
So, Killer, after that motivational speech from these guys, do you think we're going to catch any more bass at Somerset?
Oh, there'll be bass caught for sure.
There will be bass caught, and what do you reckon, you v Mitch, who's going to come out on top? Mitch is sort of semi-local there, but you're Killer.
I'll throw my hat behind someone who, like I said, someone who's going to come up with something a bit different, I think.
Someone that just sits in Bay 13 in 30 foot of water, throwing a slider, probably not going to win it this year?
Probably not, no. No, it'll be someone who will find something a little bit sneaky.
Sneaky?
Or it may not be Mitch, it may be... What's the nickname going to be?
Oh, yeah, it's not Mitch, it is. Put your comments down below. It's not Llamas. That's right. And you can win the couple of DT20s that you may indeed win the Open on. There you go.
Pizza Monster.
What's that? Pizza Monster. There you go. Killer's got his entry in already. Get on your phone, mate, and put it down.
What about Mitch being itchy?
Bit itchy. Itchy Mitch.
Itchy Mitchy.
Well, there you go. There's a lot of it's with right. Yeah, I know it also
Twitchy
rhymes
Mitchy?
with
Twitchy
Mitch.
Mitchy.
Twitch, bitch,
Hey.
snitch. I'm not as imaginative as you guys. Put the comments down there. There's only 4 Rapala crankbaits to win, but obviously everyone wants to win them, and everyone wants the privilege of renaming Aussie Seth until he's got the mullet back. All right, guys. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. We've got some great prizes there. We're gonna leave, and then we're gonna come back with the Bass Electric Australian Open guys, Marcel and Pete Bostock. Let's go to a sponsors ad and do some magic.
Maui Jim sunglasses were born on the beaches of Hawaii, designed to respond to the bright sun and harsh glare of the islands, all while enhancing the view. After 30 years, we're still independently owned, and the free-thinking Hawaiian spirit that first inspired us is still a part of everything we do. Our Polarized Plus 2 lenses not only protect eyes from harmful rays, they also make colors more vivid and contrast crisper. Try on a pair and see for yourself. The view's better from here.
Let us make this absolutely clear. The days of wasted casts and missed opportunities are over. New Mega Imaging takes fishing into the megahertz range for the first time, because higher frequency sonar means higher frequency of this. Without a doubt, it's the most detailed picture of the world below ever. And it's only from Humminbird.
Okay, we are back for the 4th segment tonight, and thanks very much, guys, for waiting till last. Marcel Krieger, previous ABT staff member, he was reminiscing about the building here and where he used to sit. Yeah. And Pete Bostock, everyone who is a Bass Electric fan knows Pete because, well, of your series of remarkable wins and the great footage you took when we trusted you with a camera at Weir Along at the Humminbird Bass Electric Australian Open last year. Welcome to the ABT studios, guys.
Thank you very much.
I think first of all, let's run Pete's magic from last year. I know we've got a clip here. Nicole, do you want to run that clip? And Pete, I want you to just take us through this technique. Well, we haven't seen this before in our highlights reel, so what's going on?
So I had what we dubbed the magic tree there at Weir Along, and it was just a matter of finding the fish. The fish were holding at 6 metres and making the lure dance in front of them. I tied 6 metres of leader on the reel, So I knew exactly when the knot
Right height,
hit the top of the water, that's where the fish were. Watched the sounder pretty hard and just danced the lure in front. I found if I hit the rod a bit hard, they spooked.
Yep.
If I made them just jiggle a bit, they'd come in, show a bit of interest, and then lo and behold, smash it.
It's funny because bass have got a reputation of belting anything, and this clip here, this shows you how, you're looking at the fish on the sounder, and dead set, you are just moving that lure. 6 metres down, how much does that lure move compared to how hard you hit the rod?
It seems to jump around fairly well, and I've got a free running ball sinker on it, which I think also adds a tiny bit of knock to the when it hits the top of the hook. I tried it with a soft bead, thinking maybe that might slow the noise down a little bit, and it didn't seem to be as effective as when I just ran it through. It took me probably 2 years to get this to work the way I can get it to work now, right? So.
And how did you, were you just sitting in bed one night thinking about fishing, which is like what I do, and would you just think, I'm going to try this, or it was something you made up as you're on the water?
No, I was at Somerset fishing a kayak round, and a dirty bait fisher pulled up beside me and brained it.
And annihilated you?
Yep. And I could not get a fish, and I threw everything I had, and I started trying to dance crabbies in that sort of depth, and thought there has to be a better lure. And I tried everything on the market that was in that small creature bait, shrimp sort of pattern, and finally Berkeley produced one, and I thought, I reckon that's going to work. And
it's just like the little freshwater shrimp, doesn't it?
Exactly right, yeah, yep. And it works.
And then, so we finished looking at those clips there. That's still amazing. This is a very sensitive rod for that technique. And what I want to do is, I just want to show the business end of this. And this hasn't got a sinker like you used to use at Weir Along. It's a much smaller sinker, this, is it?
Yeah, that's the...
Hold that rod. I'm just going to show the guys what you've been using. And this is the... What's your name for this rig?
Oh, well, yeah, they've called it the PB sweet technique or whatever it is. But
the Sweet Pete technique we did. So it's a ball sinker on top of that. Then I'll put my hand behind it so maybe you can focus on it. So there you go. There's that little shrimp, and it's dead set like you've got a live shrimp and you put it on the back, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And when it's in the water, it sits up a bit higher.
It'll sit like this.
Yeah, correct. And so when you can just make it dance, really micro movements, and the bass just smash it.
Take us through the sensitivity of that rod. Tell us what it is and why it's so good for this technique.
Yeah, so this is a Phoenix feather, so out of American jig rod. Pretty unique rod. The Americans, I saw it on Tackle Tour, right? They gave a pretty good review of it, but they said it was a bit too light for the American bass, and I thought, well, that's exactly what I need for this stupid bass jigging that people seem to be into with those hairy jigs. So I bought it for that. Thought I'd wasted a fair bit of money because I really didn't enjoy jig fishing at the start. But yeah, it turns out to be absolutely perfect for this. It's like a sort of a multi-taper rod. It buckles over quite well, but it's incredibly light. Like I think it weighs like 90 grams. And I just absolutely love it. Yeah.
Well, the proof was in the pudding. And before we talk to Marcel about some the Humminbird stuff, Nicole, can you bring up the results from the last time we went to Hins on the screen there? I want to have a look at that because everyone thinks that Pete wins every single thing that he fishes. Have a look at that one.
Yeah, I know. It's disappointing.
You came last of all. You caught a fish at least, but you came last of those guys that caught a fish. So it's not all. You don't win everything you go in.
No.
I think the guys fishing the Humminbird Bass Electric Australian Open at Hins Dam are going to be pretty excited about.
Well, yeah, and I think if anyone, for me, it's a dam that I haven't pre-fished. I've never done well at it, but it is such a beautiful place. The weather looks like it's going to be great. There's a fair bit of water in there, but the fish can't get out, right? They'll be there.
Well, they put them back in with the basket anyway.
Yeah, I know. So. Happy days, right? So, I'm excited by it.
And they're a 3 kilo bass in there.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we got a 3 kilo one last year in sort of pre-fish for the electric last year.
Yep.
But this year I've completely missed the pre-fish window, so I'm going in completely blind. But
probably win.
Hey, I don't go there to come last, right? So I do try and win, but yeah, sometimes you can just get really, really lucky, right? And I seem to occasionally get lucky there.
That's awesome, Pete. And it's going to be great competing against you as well. My goal in a Bass Electric one day is to come ahead of you. But I've got to stop catching donuts to do that. I know I've got to take these things one step at a time. Marcel, you've got the history. You've worked for ABT in the past, but now you work for BLA. And I'm sure you're aware of the history that that Humminbird was the very first bass sponsor and the very first Bream sponsor that ABT ever had back in the year 2000. It was the Humminbird Bream series, and it was the Humminbird Bass Pro series. And it was good to see that after a little bit of a break away from it, Humminbird is back, being a naming sponsor of one of our premier events.
Yes, yes. And I was talking to Chris Burns, who works for BLA as well, and
ex-ABT.
And he's going to be down there Friday night at the briefing, and then Sunday with some giveaways. So what's exciting for us is the new Humminbird Coastmaster cards.
Yes, they look so good, and I've seen the ads for those. They look like the world's best map, but not of an American impoundment, of Australian impoundments. Tell us about them.
Yes, so I've been out in the bay with Peter Young the other day, showing him around, one of the guys from Fishing Monthly. What's exciting is that there's a few dams, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and there's more to be added to those later in the year. There's a few different modes that you can run, and you can run a split screen. So you might have fishing mode on this side with contour lines or a different colour scale that you might run. And then on this side, you might decide to turn on the Google Map overlay. And you can even do land and water. So when you're looking at places like the Pin for flathead drains and things, you've got the actual photo there. You've got it on navigation, etc. But there's a lot of options that you can turn on and off.
Customise them for your sort of fishing.
Correct. And then you can save those, and a simple click of the button, you're in fishing mode, nav mode, user mode, whichever one you like.
So say I'm up at Faust, and Faust is one of the lakes that's on the new maps, and I want to find all of the flats that are between 10 and 15 feet deep. Does it do that when the lake's at different levels?
Yeah, so there's a water offset that you can do for depending on the level of the dam. But you're 100%. You can have an idea that I'm catching fish at a certain water level. You can set your highlight for that area. But we've also got other modes: vegetation, bottom hardness mode, things like that. And guys can have a look whether it's in a dam, whether it's offshore. I was talking to some guys the other day. Up north, they love to find their wonky holes, for instance, for trout and other fish. They can now check out with those maps likely areas where they might go and find some new wonky holes.
So the wonky holes themselves don't show up on the maps?
Oh, well, it's
Say yes, you'll sell plenty of them.
Up to the guys to find out.
Fair enough. And look, Marcel, I've noticed that in both the Bream, Bass and Barra, everyone loves the Humminbird 360 Mega.
Yes.
It seems to be an essential tool no matter whether you're an American Bass Pro or a Barra guy up north. You want that Humminbird 360. It mightn't be live sonar, but it just puts in context what's happening around your boat.
Yeah, and I don't think it matters whether you're a Bream, Bass or Barra fisherman. One of the guys we were talking about before, Mick Horn, again, he's got a lot of our Humminbird gear, does a lot of testing, fishes a lot of time on the water basically, so we want him to have our gear and check it out. So he uses 360, he uses it at Hins to find which trees, for instance, have the fish on them. I think guys are asking me, should I get 360 or the new Mega Live? Well, 360 finds you the fish, but the Live will tell you how they're acting or reacting, whereabouts in the water. And I've been using it even around work in the Brisbane River. Been able to find under the pontoons and ramps and things, are the fish just sulking on the bottom? Are they up and about mid-level water? That's what the Mega Live is about. So I think that's going to be interesting this year, seeing the guys use that technology in the tournaments and hopefully win them.
That's right, and we see that a lot in Australia. Guys win a tournament on a product, it then cascades down. It happened the other way for Pete because they started with the bait rig and then you took it into a tournament. Let's forget about that. But I do notice that there is a big uptake from the tournament anglers in the live sonar side of things. You know, we see Carl Jochimson over in the US. He talks about it. He's been showing us how it all works on there, and it only just gets better and better and more affordable. So if you're sitting at home now thinking, "Oh, I can't afford live sonar stuff," just give it a few years. It'll be cheaper because it all, you know, back in the old days, you used to spend $3,000 for a Humminbird unit that would show red and black dots on it. Might or might not have been a fish. Nowadays, for that money, you get something that'll show you the fish all swimming around. You'll see what sort of species of fish because you can see the fin shapes. It's exciting to me. The technology gets better and cheaper as we go along.
Well, we did a Humminbird talk night out at Toowoomba last time Carl was out, and it was a big hit, lots of guys. So I'm really keen for him to come out again this year and fish the Barra Tour and just pick up on new stuff that he brings out to fish the Barra tournament. And I'm sure everyone who's wanting to catch up with Carl and come fish will be keen to have a chat to him too.
And I think talking to Sean from BLA, Sean and Timmy together, we're going to make a function down here in Brisbane at least where you can come along and meet the guys, have a chat to them. You know, I'm sure that'll be real popular.
And aren't they getting two old teammates back together in Sean and Timmy, hey?
Sean and Timmy,
Humminbird boys.
That's right. Well, we use the old connections to make it happen because I'm sure Carl was pretty keen on catching a Barra again. He used to fish Barra tours back in the day. We've got some great AFC footage. We haven't got it here tonight, but I remember we've got an AFC clip where Carl catches a Barra on a jerkbait, and that skinny little sucker nearly gets pulled out of the boat. It hits that hard.
I do remember
that. And I remember the one with Carl and Jason Wilhelm up on Teemborough, where they catch 2 fish in the last 5 minutes to win the round. Like so many good experiences with Barra with Carl, and I'm sure that now he's done all of the things he's done in America. Man, he'll have some tricks to show those uneducated Barras, don't you reckon?
Yes, and I'm sure as much as he enjoys the American tour, he's going to enjoy coming back and doing the Aussie Barra tour with his mates and catching up with a few guys.
I've already warned Carl, when they're all sitting out under the tree on the day off, don't drink heavy beers. Because Carl, I know you might be from the gunslingingest, rootin' tootin'est country in the world now, but those boys will destroy you.
Yes.
And I'm talking to you, Barra guys. Go easy on the poor little fella. He's got to catch some fish.
Yes, leave the rum drinking to Tim and stick to fishing.
That's it. Pete Bostock, I know Hinds is up and down. Hinds is a place, you said you haven't done that much time on it, but I look at the results on it. That last event, and Nicole, bring those results up again for the last Hinds event. I'm not looking at your end this time, I'm looking at the other end. Kane Rousel, 2 fish for 4.06 kilos. So I look at a 5 fish bag, it's like 10 kilos is not out of the question for Hinds, is it, if it fishes good?
No, absolutely. I'm sure someone will find them. Someone like Adrian Wilson or yourself or Mick Horn or someone will find them. And it won't just be a spoon bite, it'll be an edge bite, it'll be all sorts of different techniques will win it for sure.
All I can say is if there is a 10 kilo bag weighed, I guarantee I'm going to weigh it.
Yeah.
Because I'm the weighmaster. So I mightn't catch it, but I'm going to weigh it.
I look forward to you weighing my bag, that'll be great.
Look, the entries for the Humminbird Bass Electric Australian Open, they're still open. We're going to keep them open till later in the week. We want to hit that 20 boat mark. 20 of the guys, and the Bass Electric is sort of an entry-level series. We always try to keep the prices and the barriers down to fishing it, but this is the one time of the year where you get to pay $250 entry. If I get 20 people, it'll probably be, you know, $2,500, $3,000 maybe first prize. We're going to get a good first prize in there. There's going to be some great merch from Humminbird there. It's going to be a great weekend. Just once a year, back yourself. You never know. You might be the one who walks away with the big pot of gold and that great trophy, Pete.
If I could win it, anybody could win it.
I didn't say that. You can win it plenty of times. What have you won? Bass Electric Grand Final? Tick. Twice. You've done the Open now?
Yep.
Once?
Yep. Bass Major when you used to run those back in the day. I won that one as well, luckily.
So there you go. You can go there, not only win some good money, take a big scalp if you manage to win that thing.
Hey, I want people to beat me, right? How good would it be to have 40 people all beat me? I'd love to see 40 people there thrash me. That'd be awesome.
There you go. And that is the attitude that we like when we grow in the sport. Look, guys, thank you very much for coming along. Appreciate you've come along to me tonight. Hope you enjoyed the pizzas out in the foyer there. We're going to go to one last sponsors break now. We're going to come back to you with some prize winners, and we're going to wrap this whole show up. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. I hear the volunteers out there snapping the top off a few enhanced soft drinks I think they might be having out there. But we have got the competition winners for you. And let me say firstly, thank you to all of the guys that came in tonight to talk about our 4 upcoming Opens. Remember, the Opens are for everyone. The borders are open now. I know a lot of you Southerners are coming up for the Barra Tour, but feel free to come up for any of these events. They're all open, and if you land on the fish, you could be the one who takes home that great Joey Urquhart trophy. Maybe get to take Jeff home for the time. Who knows? But I've got some competition winners here. We had 3 comps tonight. The first one was Tell Us Where You're From. Wins this, the Daiwa Bait Junkie Pack. That was Justin Mason from Ballarat in Victoria. So Justin, can you send us a message on our Facebook page? Tell us your address. We will post this out to you tomorrow. Second one, we wanted to know, this is for the Barra lures, we wanted to know who the sponsor was for the Venom Barra Australian Open. Guess what the answer was? It was Venom. So a couple of flat shads, a couple of live mullets here, and that was for Rob Berlin. He got it right. Venom, Rob Berlin, send us a message to the Facebook page and we're going to give us your address. We will post these out to you. So Rob Berlin, if you know Rob, send him a message telling him he's won. And thirdly, and this was the most fun tournament, this is the most fun comp for the night, Nicole was reading me out all of Mitch's new nicknames that had potential, but the one that we think has most potential at the moment is the Rap Brat. So Nikki Sticklin, that was you. Send us your address on our Facebook page and we will send you a couple of DT20s, a couple of other Rapala crankbaits. All of the information for all those upcoming opens, or if you want to be an observer in the Bream or the Bass Open, is on our website, which is www.abt.org.au. That's www.abt.org.au. Get on there, get entering. Love to see you at one of the next 4 opens. And until then, check it out from the ABT studios.